going to be a really fun Let's Talk Business because you and I know each other a little bit from way back in the day, in the early days of MCTV. So for those that don't know you, who is Craig Power?
Who is Craig Power? Very existential question to start. Craig Power is a Marshfield resident to start. I'm a dad and a husband, but the reason I'm here, I'm a real estate professional, real estate broker in the local area. I help people buy, sell, invest, and rent real estate. And I have some, MCTV credentials here too.
Yes, I want to get into that right off the bat. So
good.
This is not your first time on MCTV.
I love what you've done with the place.
This is your first. Yeah, no kidding. This is the first time in the new place, but you are for the first, maybe summer or two that I was here back in 2008, 2009, you were producing a show. So, and we were just talking about it because it's one of my favorite memories. So talk about that show.
The public access TV show, the tapes are somewhere. No, you told me you burned the tapes, I think.
I threw a lot of tape.
It was called Fahrenheit 781. It was a public access hit, I would say.
It was.
I would say it was a hit. And I think we were probably most famous for the Dairy Challenge, right? It was a live show where we take calls and everything. And before the show would start, we would have people begin drinking a gallon of milk on the side of the panel. And then inevitably, before the end of the hour-long live broadcast, they would be throwing up into buckets.
Yes.
Live on the air. This is groundbreaking stuff.
Yes, it was.
Really groundbreaking stuff.
You guys would come in an hour or so ahead of time and line the entire old studio with trash bag liners.
Yeah, it's funny. I kind of wonder, in my professional life, I feel like I'm trying to overcome. That's like my Marshfield reputation.
Yeah,
it's the guy on TV with the guys puking. But that was 15 years ago, for the record.
You're that guy at the reunions that people are like, oh my God, he's grown up.
Yeah. I don't know if that's true, but I'll take.
You're here now, so you've hit a level of success if you've come on Let's Talk Business. It's like
that's good.
When you're recommended by people to come on the show, then people that I trust, then we're in good shape.
That's important. And honestly, if I can say, it has changed so much around here. You've done an amazing job. I can't believe just what a different, walking in the front door, how different it was when we both know it was sort of a
it was the Wild West.
Lower, it
was the Wild West. We've grown up a little bit.
Yeah, you've done an amazing job. You've done an amazing job. Marshfield's lucky to have you.
I'm still here. But it doesn't look, nothing's out of the 1980s. Still.
Yeah, exactly.
So, jumping into today. So, what got you into the real estate business?
Real estate always interested me, right? Actually, after college, I sort of did some post-college floundering, right? As one does. I worked in recruiting and human resources. Didn't really like it, but yet kept sort of climbing the attempting to climb the corporate ladder. Yeah. And the only thing I knew for sure was that my day-to-day, I absolutely hated it. So eventually just had a moment where I took a pay cut. I was like, real estate has always interested me. I didn't really know why. There's no explanation. My dad's always worked in high-end lighting. I have some family in construction. There was I have some family in real estate, on the West Coast, and so
it's kind of
always
interested
me. Yeah, it was always something like that. And then I kind of knew right away, even taking a pay cut, that I liked the day-to-day. Mm-hmm. I really enjoyed learning about real estate, and there's so many different ways you can take it. So here I am. Yeah.
So what made you go into business for yourself and start Power Realty Advisors?
I worked at a small brokerage in the Fenway area for years after I got my license. And it was always, good company, but I think it was also, I guess the vision, I've always just wanted to do my own thing, I think. Mm-hmm. Because you can sort of steer your ship a certain way, sort of changing times economically and everything. So I've always sort of wanted to have that ability to have my own sort of company culture and sort of company mission. You know what I mean? So I always liked the idea of owning my own business. I always wanted to do that. Mm-hmm. I think to call myself entrepreneurial would be a little bit of a stretch. That seems like giving myself too much credit. I kind of just wanted to do my own thing. Yeah.
So just tell us about the business. When you started, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I started it I launched the business in December 2019, and I was 2020's my year, and then COVID, and then I'm just kind of looking around like, okay, how do we roll with the punches here? And it ended up being like a good thing because it's like, these changing times in the real estate industry and just in the country, if you can just be flexible, and like I said, roll with the punches, you kind of, end up learning, different skills, different things. And, ultimately it's been fun. It's been stressful, but it's been fun.
Right. So types of listings, any particular area of specialty or?
I think my areas of specialty today would just be, I think probably just focusing on like, I'm very competitive about like marketing campaigns and, video marketing for homes and everything like that. And then, I think the real estate investing side, what was cool was I came from really rentals and property management where I got to learn more about like real estate as an investment. And I think, that was in the city and now I'm more working in the suburbs. And I think that, sort of separates me, a little bit where I have like a lot of exposure to real estate investing where maybe some other, real estate brokers maybe don't.
Is a lot of it like, is your target area like South Shore?
Yeah, I'd say it's just South Shore in Boston. Yeah, and truth be told, like to call myself an expert in every neighborhood in Boston would be wrong. Like I know Brookline, I know Fenway, I know, Back Bay, right? I know North End, kind of everything else. People ask me about Southie. I don't know it that well, so there are just certain key neighborhoods that I definitely know I would call myself an expert in. And then, all towns, South Shore, Quincy down to Plymouth. That's the stuff that really on a daily basis I'm studied up on and I know like the back of my hand.
Is it a mix of like residential, commercial, like rental?
Really just residential for me.
Okay.
Yeah. So that is one area where I've just kind of specifically stuck to residential.
So loaded question here. So how has the business industry, whatever you want to call it, changed since you've been in it?
I think COVID had a lot to do with the changes.
Okay.
I think it's sort of two things. It would be COVID and sort of the, turn toward like more, internet virtual tours, stuff like that, right? The sort of more cutting edge marketing, right? Doing a lot of more creative, approaches just when it comes to showings, like, FaceTime calls and, video, all that stuff. That's different, right? And buyers have had to be flexible with all that. Other than that, I think it would really be the constraints on supply since I got my real estate license have only become like harder and harder. And I think that's the thing I'm most focused on today is like, it's really hard. Like buying your first home today is like such an accomplishment. It really is because, the odds sort of aren't in your favor, especially in these like highly desirable markets. So that's a big part of it today.
It's interesting you talked about like FaceTime and stuff like that because I was talking with a realtor recently and about a younger audience, younger buyers, and how different they are.
Oh yeah,
where it's so app focused and Zoom meetings and stuff like that. So just talk about that, like how it's changed, especially with like younger buyers and how they're more tech savvy.
Yeah, and I think younger buyers deserve a ton of credit because I think the reputation is that they want like turnkey in the perfect location. But like younger buyers, from what I've seen, the first time home buyer they're very flexible. They're not buying like perfect properties. They're really not. They're buying everything knowing like they can fix up certain things over time. And I think the younger generations, especially the younger generation of home buyers, deserve like a lot of credit for just being flexible. Where it's really hard out there. I mean, again, I was looking at this. I say this every week now, but I was looking at the available inventory in Marshfield a few days ago, and it was like 3 homes. At one point, and I was like, "This is something has to give."
Yeah.
If people are gonna be able to buy homes in the future, because we know the construction's not happening,
Right.
the development's not happening. It's tough. So
it's got to be challenging, especially because like a lot of people who maybe millennials or whatever who lived in the city after school, whatever, are now having families and want to come back.
Oh yeah, yeah. And the story today is rising interest rates, right?
Yeah.
Like that's like as of this morning, right? It's like rates are now over 5%, and I'm talking to some of my clients who are first-time buyers, where our conversation might as well be like, see you down the road. It really stinks.
Really?
Because they're getting priced out of their their target markets, and it's really unfortunate. Yeah.
Is there a favorite type of client that you enjoy working with more than others?
I think most people in my job would say like anybody selling anything today is great because you are you're like the only you're the only option, right? Yeah. You're the coolest person in town. You have a listing, you're the cool. Everybody wants to be your friend. Yeah. Everybody, want to buy you drinks and but I think so this is a little bit of spin for you, but I really do enjoy working with buyers, right? Buyers set the prices ultimately. Buyers control the market. And I think what I've been telling people lately is, I'm bullish on home ownership in general. I mean, I have to be. I'm a real estate agent, disclaimer, right? Looking at the camera. But I think, a year ago, right, everybody was jumping up and down, screaming. I'm sure you got some of the advertisements like, it's the best time to sell.
Which
sell your house.
I actually did sell around this time last year.
But you bought again.
Yeah,
so that's
we sold in March and bought in July.
Yeah, so still you're still in the market, right? Because I think my point I was going to make is like if you sold a year ago right now, the market's up like 16% year over year. Mm-hmm. So like no mutual fund could have gotten you that return and the value of like a home over the last year. So like if you sold a year ago, how did you reallocate that money? Right, and I think, obviously, I'm not expecting prices to continue on that trajectory, but I think that is really the pitch to buyers today. Where it's an asset economy, right? We got to get you in at some point, right? We still want it to be like favorable. We want it to be a great long-term solution home for you, but like I think I still really like working with buyers today because I think that's that end goal is very clear, Yeah.
What's the role of a broker? That's a phrase I hear in real estate. You're someone's a broker. What is that?
Yeah, it's sort of changing, right? It's it used to be just more of like I find the property for you. I think before my time, now it's so much like strategy, market knowledge, product knowledge. Real estate agents have a fiduciary duty. I don't know if you're familiar with that. That means we have like a sworn sacred responsibility, to protect your financial interests. Mm-hmm. So, that's sort of another definition, right? So it's really the way I see it is just, an advisor for all, not a financial advisor, right? But an advisor for all things, real estate and housing related. Yeah.
So is there a typical day for you? And if so, what is it?
It goes back and forth. Yeah, you can probably get the idea. It's some days are like totally frantic, uphill battle, appointment to appointment, and then other days I'm just sitting there, drinking coffee, just pounding out emails, and so it changes really day to day. You try to arrange it so that like all the driving is on one day rather than constantly sort of a back and forth. But no, it's really a great job. I'm lucky. I have no complaints.
Is it still that traditional like spring and summer are busier than? Or has pandemic 2020 just wiped everything?
You're so right. Where it's like that's just kind of constant. Like I was doing a video just the other day about bidding wars, and it was like bidding wars are back. And then like when I finished doing the video, I was like, did bidding wars ever really go away? Like, what am I really saying? I think really there's no seasonality to it now. I mean, we know inventory will still improve in the spring, but there's no really like good time to buy in our market. Not on the South Shore, right? Maybe in the city you have some stuff where, maybe in the fall and the winter it does get a little bit quieter, but in the suburbs it's really just steady. It really is.
You mentioned bidding wars and all that, and I was just flashing back to my experience of real estate. And I remember buying my house in 2009 and being able to go to look at maybe 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
Now, like when we're looking for a new place, it was, hey, open house is Saturday, Sunday, and bids are due either Sunday at 8 o'clock or 10 a.m. Monday morning.
Yeah.
So it has the speed. Like the speed of everything has changed dramatically.
It's crazy.
Like they're still bidding, but it's just become immensely condensed.
Yeah, it's so hard, and it's really more of like an auction format. Sometimes it feels like it's sometimes like it's like a game of chicken. It's like you're, and that's the weird thing about the fiduciary duty, which I try to explain to people, where it's like, it's not as simple as I just tell everybody to come in like 50 grand over, right? Like I have to like look out for their financial interests, right? So how do you walk the line of like, I want you to get the house, but I don't want you to way overpay for it,
right?
Like that's sort of my role here.
Yeah.
So it's so much sort of strategy involved.
Are there things you can do to make like an offer stand out, even if it's not the highest offer?
There are, right? So it's sometimes it's terms, right? Sometimes it's just a personal connection, with the seller or the seller's agent, right? I do a lot of schmoozing, John. Every opportunity to even like check out who the owner is selling the house and stuff, just to be like, I wonder if we have any mutual friends or anything. You have to find those edges, and then other than that, I mean, I think your broker, right, the person in my position, matters a lot too, because good business is done a certain way, and you want to be that person that people want to work with. You want to be someone who will make the process easy on everybody. The person who sits in the buyer's agent position, they matter a lot.
Right. So what separates you from other realtors? I mean, you can go to an event or something like that. You could throw a bottle and hit 5 or 6 realtors. Yeah. What separates you from others?
That's true. It's a really good question. I would say there are probably 2 things. There are a lot of great real estate agents. Can I do another disclaimer?
You can.
There are a lot of great real estate agents out there. I'm not knocking anybody, and there really are, right? Especially in our local market. I think what would separate me, I think, would be a couple things. Media marketing is one, right? Where I mentioned like the video marketing I'm doing now, and that's been really cool, and I feel like it's ahead of the curve and unique. I think a lot of great, higher end real estate agents have, market knowledge and product knowledge, and I would consider myself on par with the best of them. I think probably the biggest thing in our local market is I really understand real estate as an investment, right? Not just real estate investing and rentals and all that, which I do. And I do think I have a leg up on the game in that, and in recognizing and evaluating those opportunities, but just understanding economically real estate as an investment, especially for this younger generation of buyers, right? People around. I'm 34. That's now the average age of the first-time home buyer.
Okay.
And so I really sort of like understand the struggles that go with that, and then really the end financial goals that we're going for.
So what's something that people need to know to make sure they have a great experience working with you?
I think they should know, I'll be honest, and I might talk them out of a house. I might, there are, at the starter home level today, there are a lot of duds. Okay. Like you can kind of, in Marshfield, right? I mean, you could anything would sell for $400,000 today. Yeah. Anything, a shoebox, So to really like figure out what your clients are looking for, and like aligning their goals with the purchase, and looking out and saying like, no, there's a difference between like a fixer-upper and like a full-blown money pit, and I think people should just know I'm going to be pretty direct on that stuff, and sometimes, you can yes people to death in this business too, and somebody will say like, do you think, we can find a house in this neighborhood for $700 or something? And sometimes the answer is no, especially today when prices are going through the roof, Yeah.
So you mentioned marketing and whatnot, and I went on your website, and there's a lot of educational information. So just talk about that.
Yeah, that's a direct result of COVID, right? And a direct result of my past experience on Fahrenheit 781.
Yes, it is.
In front of the camera. No, it's COVID was sort of a weird time. I had just launched the business, and I didn't have any video content, YouTube channel, anything like that, and I just started as we were kind of sitting there, figuring out how to approach the real estate profession, I just started putting together these, 8 to 12 minute real estate educational videos, and now I'm trying to do them every week, just tackling different topics. So some of them are more, I'm just putting this out there for my clients later, right? Like stuff about like condo questionnaires, right? Like who's looking that stuff up? That's not a sexy topic, like condo questionnaires, and what do you do? How do you renegotiate after a home is bad? Like nobody's looking that up on a daily basis, but it's there for my clients if they ever need it, right? Or anybody if they ever need it. And then sometimes it is more like, what's the news of the day? What's like an interesting topic? Let me give you my thoughts, Yeah. How can I help?
It's interesting because I have a friend who owns his own business, and he said like I spend more time doing marketing than I actually do on the actual business aspects that I'm actually trained and licensed to do.
Yeah, it's funny. Like I have to pick out topics now, and I'll record like 3 videos at a time, just purely for that time management part of it. Where it's like, okay, I know I want to talk about this. We should have something like this for our clients later, right? So like, I might as well. I just hit something on my.
Sorry.
But stuff like that, like kind of the bulk recording part of it helps because you can sink a lot of time into it. The editing takes me. I'm an idiot when it comes to the editing.
Has there been a favorite transaction or memorable one?
I did a flip a few years ago on Beacon Street. Flipped with 2 partners. We flipped a condo on Beacon Street. It's a studio. It's sort of a long story. Sort of a distressed property. And we knew the owner. I was a condo manager for the building, and he just kind of walked in the door and said like, "Hey, selling this condo. My financial advisor says I need to sell it right away." And we immediately launched a conversation about like listing it, but he was like, "No, like I need to sell it. Like, do you want it?" And that sort of just launched into like a quick, 3 month. It was highly successful. And that was probably the most interesting because it was a crash course from the investor seat, right?
Really?
The returns, how you can really make your money work for you. It was pretty cool.
Is there a transaction you want to do but you haven't done yet?
There are a lot of those. I think more stuff on the higher end here in Marshfield. Like, I was raised in Marshfield. We talked,
Right.
you know this, right? I went to Marshfield High for some reason, and I live in Marshfield now, and I still work more in like Hingham and Pembroke, than I think part of it is just like there's just nothing coming on the market in Marshfield.
Right. Yeah, there is.
But I always look at like, we'll be driving through, Arrowhead in Marshfield, and like I've never sold anything there, and I'm like, I gotta sell something up here. Like I got, there's a lot of that, and then one sort of fun version of that in my head. I've always had like a goal of selling a house on Jerusalem Road in Cohasset. I guess just growing up, like I've always kind of thought of that as like that's sort of the neighborhood around here. Just and I always thought that would be like a cool sort of personal pride. Like I've made it as a listing broker on the South Shore if I listed something over there. So
So business is all about partners, especially in your field. So who are the best partners for you?
Other than MCTV, no, I would
in
say
reality.
In reality.
In reality.
I mean, a lot of times
because there's such a sphere of influence there.
There definitely is. Lenders and attorneys are big, referral partners for me, where those relationships are important. I think looking forward, we're going through a period where like new construction is going to be so important. We need more houses, guys. We need more houses. We need to we need to ease up the constraints on building and everything. And I'd really like to create more of a network just in the construction industry. General contractors and really build out our vendor list there would be really interesting. Yeah.
On the home stretch here. So
on the home stretch.
What's the best piece of advice you've been given from a business perspective?
Under promise, over deliver. That's the best one. Under promise, over deliver. And like I was saying, and I might be repeating myself, but like you can make the huge error of just yesing people to death in my position, of just, you need to manage expectations, and then you need to take the opportunity on the other side to like go above and beyond those expectations. So that's sort of a balance. That's sort of a trick to this job that's the key. Yeah.
If you could jump in the time machine to the start of your career, what would you tell yourself?
Start of my MCTV career, I would
No,
say
you're
stop
professional.
saying so many bad things on the air.
You were well behaved. You guys.
We were good. We were good.
You guys knew where the line was.
Yeah. It's funny. We have like one tape of an episode that I'm like, this can never go out there ever.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that I have that it's like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It like wouldn't go over that well. You know what I mean?
I don't even show my wife it.
Yeah. Times have changed. Have changed.
Grown
But if I could hop in a time machine to when I started my career in real estate, I think it would be just try to like enjoy the process a little bit more. Anybody can, I think, relate to that of just like you don't have to get so like stressed about the stuff you can't control. Like I still don't. I'm a control freak, and I still don't like fully accept that I'm just at the whim of the market sometimes. Like the market's just going to go this way or that way, and like I have to roll with it, Instead, I sit there complaining about like what's unfair to my clients who are first-time buyers, or you know what I mean? Like
I don't picture you a control freak. It's funny.
Really?
No.
Yeah, you should ask my wife about that. It's I think she'd be like, you are so uptight over this work stuff. It's true. Yeah, I can be a bit of a control freak, and that's definitely like looking back. I think you waste a lot of time kind of like, worrying and brooding on stuff in this industry, just sitting there waiting to like get an offer declined, you know what I mean? Instead of being like, it is what it is,
Right.
I think that's still sort of my problem today, but working on it.
And last but not least, if there's, is there a way that people can find out more about you and Powell Realty Advisors?
Yeah. Can email me anytime, Craig@PowellRealtyBoston.com. But check out the YouTube channel. Maybe you'll find something on there that is valuable to you. Basically, the idea with any of those videos is like, hopefully, this is valuable to somebody somewhere, right? Hopefully, it will find them organically. So I think that would be it. Yeah, check out the YouTube channel. I'm trying to put more into it soon, and just. Right now, I'm talking a lot about like millennial home buyers and sort of like the situation of winning these bidding wars. Right? I tell you, like that's one that I'm working on now. It's like, how do we get you to win in a bidding war? How do we get you to stand out? So stuff like that. Yeah.
Well, Craig, thanks so much. It was fun kind of going down memory lane a little bit here as well.
Thank you for having me. This is amazing.
Super enjoyable.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. And again, amazing stuff you've done here. Keep up the amazing work. You're awesome.